Here's what's true about everyone you meet. There's someone's life, and then there's what you know about it. That's why we should be gentle with people. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit in Scripture is gentleness. And it's why we're encouraged and we're even commanded in Scripture to be gentle. To, in fact, as the Apostle Paul says, let your gentleness be evident to all. I mean, we can become so easily judgy, can't we? We do this because humans have a tendency to be infected with, I call it plankitis. You know what plankitis is. It's identified as a condition by Jesus in the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 7. He said this, "And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a plank in your own? Hypocrite. First, get rid of the plank in your own eye, then you'll be able to see well enough to remove the speck from your friend's eye." This is why I think Christians, and certainly a church, should be a judgment-free zone. Why? Because very few of us are judged into a better place of health or wholeness. But I know we all need wholeness, and that means we all need change. Now, I've tried to change over the years with just sheer willpower. I've tried to white knuckle it and get through those tough times or moments and those crisis moments. And certainly in them, I'm highly motivated to change because I want to experience something different. But I've found that willpower is not enough to really change, nor is the motivation around a crisis really enough to really change. Real change requires more than willpower. It requires new habits, new neural pathways, and new wiring. For example, take your physical health. When you open the pages of Scripture, there's not a lot of obvious stories or portions of Scripture that kind of prioritize healthy living or healthy rhythms. I mean, there's no Jesus woke up one day and ran a swift 5K, had his bullet coffee, then did intermittent fasting and broke the fast with grass-fed beef and greens. But embedded throughout Scripture, there are principles and teaching that point to physical health as a priority. For example, Leviticus. There are all kinds of commands that God gives his people in Leviticus that are meant to preserve their health as they traverse the desert with no running water, no refrigeration, no health care. I mean, clearly God is concerned about their health. We also see embedded in the narrative of Jesus' life a rhythm for physical activity. I mean, Jesus spent his adult years walking. He walked a lot, likely around 34,000 kilometers in his 33 short years of life. We also know his diet from the culture and the time he was born. And of course, it's embedded in the narrative of Scripture with the miracles that happen that are attached to healing and the proverbs that are attached to living well. There's also this beautiful greeting that the Apostle John gives in 3 John. He said this, "Dear friend, I pray that you may have good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along." Now, this was in fact a very common greeting in John's era, in the Hellenistic era. You can see different versions of this greeting in many of the ancient letters. John starts by expressing a prayer for his friend's material and circumstantial well-being. The verb used by John in the original Greek for that all may go well with you literally means to have a good journey, to succeed and prosper. John is expressing a prayer for his friend's financial and circumstantial well-being. The other verb that John uses for enjoy good health is used 3 times by Luke in the Gospel of Luke, the physician, the doctor. And it's used to describe those who are fit and well or safe and sound. And John is expressing a prayer and a blessing for his friend's physical health. Again, this is not uncommon in John's age. But then John adds something, a twist, not found in the Hellenistic greetings of his day. He adds, even as your soul is getting along well. That's brand new. You can't find that anywhere else. By adding those words, the Apostle John is departing from the popular belief in his culture that the body was evil and the spirit was good. Or the body, at the very least, is disposable. So the philosophers and religious leaders of the day had largely divorced the spiritual from the physical. That's one of the things that makes Christianity very unique. It connected or integrated things that were not previously connected or integrated to the spiritual world. For example, Christians had an elevated view of sex. It was something both beautiful and sacred. I mean, the philosophers and the religious leaders of John's day saw sex as a necessary bodily function for procreation, but it wasn't sacred. It was of the flesh, the sark it was called. And because of it, it was disposable and even sometimes evil or twisted. Relationships. Christians had an elevated view of relationships. It connected how we treated others to our sacred relationship with God. In the Christian worldview, the measure and depth of the health of your relationship with God was measured by the depth and health of your relationships with others. John is connecting things here. He's helping us to realize we live a connected life, that our physical health is connected to our material health, to our spiritual health. He's saying that we are connected. So, in reflecting on the verse in 3 John, theologian John Stott says this: there is a biblical warrant here for desiring the physical as well as the spiritual welfare of our Christian friends. John cared about his friends' total well-being, meaning his spiritual life, yes, for sure, but also his mental life, his emotional life, his relational life, and even his physical life. We are the sum of all of our parts. We're a connected person. Body, emotion, mind, relationship, spirit, each one affecting the other. So caring for our bodies, our diet, our activity, having regular doctor checkups, well, they matter because we are to steward this body. It affects our spiritual condition, it influences our emotional condition, and certainly affects our mental condition. So let me end with John's words. Dear friends, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, just as you're progressing spiritually. Bless you.